finding the percent increase or decrease. So the steps outlined by Alex in your textbook give you two steps. The first is that you find the amount of increase or decrease by just subtracting the smaller number from the larger one. And then the second thing that you do is use a proportion to find the percent increase or decrease. And the formula they give you is the number you get from step 1, put that in the numerator of this fraction that's over the original amount, and that's equal to the percent increase or decrease over 100. I like to interpret that second part of the formula as just telling you that your answer comes out to be in decimal form, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. Or you can actually, I'll show you two ways that you can set that up. Okay, so an example. In 2000, a town had a population of 6,000. In 2010, its population had grown to 7,800. Find the percent increase in the population from 2000 to 2010. So our first step is to find the amount, in this case, of increase. And remember that first step just says take the larger number and subtract the smaller number from it. Okay, so that was step 1. The second step is that you take that number and you put it over the original amount. So the original amount was 6,000. And that's equal to the percent increase over 100. So remember the definition up here in green. Okay, so we put the amount of increase over the original, and that's equal to the percent increase over 100. Okay, let's work with that left-hand side because a lot of it simplifies. These double zeros you could just cancel out, and then we could really be reducing 18 over 60. So I'm just going to keep working with this part to simplify it. Okay, 18 over 60, now that reduces. 18 and 60 both have a factor of 6, so let's factor out a 6. Okay, so 18 is 6 times 3, and 60 is 6 times 10. So those 10s cancel out, and I get 3 over 10. Okay, and now last, you have the answer almost here. So there's two ways to kind of finish this out. One way is just to write this in its decimal form. So 3/10 is 0.3. Now that's the decimal form. So if that's the decimal form, you need to write this as blank percent. Remember, you have to move the decimal in the decimal form 2 places to the right, which makes that 30%, which is the answer. So what happened is use the formula, you set up the amount of increase or decrease over the original amount, and then we reduce that fraction until we got 3/10, and then we had to write it as a decimal form to be able to convert it to that last percentage. And that's the way I like to work this problem. I will show you one alternative way that I think your textbook writes it out in this format. Either way is fine, it's really the same thing. Okay, let me erase this. Okay, we're going to go through those first same steps. So the percent, or sorry, not the percent, the amount of increase, remember that came from larger number minus smaller, and that was 1800. And remember the formula, I can get it back on the screen. You stick that number over the original amount, and that's equal to, now here's what your textbook does. The percent increase or decrease, that's what we don't know, right? That's the whole point of the problem, is to find the percent increase. I'm going to call that x, like your textbook does. That's equal to x, the percent increase over 100. And they set it up like this, and we're really going to do pretty much the same thing. It's just the right-hand side changes the way we do our last final step. Okay, again, simplify the left-hand side, and remember 18 over 60, 6 divides into 18 3 times, and 6 divides into 60 10 times. So however you write out that simplification, you get 3/10, just like we did before. And the book will show you to use this right-hand side like this. Now if you were going to solve for x, let's make some more room. if you're going to solve for x here, then you need to get rid of the division by 100. So to get rid of division by 100, you would have to multiply both sides by 100. And then 100s cancel, I just get x, and that's equal to, okay, whatever 100 times 3/10 is. Now this 100 and the 10 can simplify. 10 goes in itself one time and into 100 10 times. And I'm left with 10 times 3, which is 30. And that directly gives you the answer in the percent form. So the idea with the way we just did it the second way is that you don't have to convert it to a percent form because it does that for you. That's what this whole thing, the x over 100. Either way that I just worked it is completely fine, but you better end up with 30% on that problem. Okay, next example. Zohar bought a car 4 years ago for $14,000. Today she purchased a new car and the dealership gave her $5,000 for her used car. Find the percent decrease in the value of her car and then round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so the very first step is that we find the amount of increase or decrease. Here it's the amount of decrease, right? First step. Okay, you take the larger number and you subtract the smaller number. And we get 9,000. That's the amount of decrease. And then the next step is you stick that over the original amount. And remember, there's two ways to write out these next steps. If you do it my way, you just leave it like this. You reduce, let's see, we can get rid of 3 zeros, nice. And we just get 9 over 14. Now, you always have to have, if you're working out this way I do, the decimal form, or you can't list that percent out. So, this is not that pretty to do by hand, so let's see if I can find a calculator really fast. Oh, you're seeing a lot of behind the scenes right now. Alright, cool. Calculator. I want to see what 9 divided by 14 is. Ooh, okay. What did we get? 0.64285 and a bunch more decimals, right? Okay, that's fine. We're going to round to the nearest tenth when we get it in the percent form anyway. Now that's the decimal form of the percent, not the percentage. So to change it to its percent form, we move the decimal to the right 2. So that would be 64.285 dot dot dot. There's lots of decimals there, percent. And then since we're rounding to the nearest tenth, that's one decimal place. Notice you're rounding at the very end. Okay, so tenth is one place, so I look one place to the right. That's more than 5, so I bump that up to a 3. And there's my answer. Now I'm going to work through the same problem, but show you the second way that you would see the steps outlined in your book. It's the same thing, but the last couple steps look different, so just take your preference in my way. The only thing is that you always have to remember that you have to convert to the percentage, and the book's way of writing the steps, it takes care of that for you. Okay, so remember the first step is you find the amount of decrease here, which was 9,000. Remember 14,000 minus 5,000. Hey, why is it not letting me write? Uh-oh. Okay, sorry about that. That's the amount of decrease. And then you put that over the original amount. And the way the book would write that, now, so my way is that I just work from that, and I keep reducing that, and then I change it to the decimal form, and that's the answer. It just needs to be converted to a percentage. Now the book's way would say, go ahead at the beginning and set that equal to x over 100. And remember, x is what you're solving for. In this case, it's the, sorry, not the amount, the percentage of decrease. Okay, so to solve this for x, the best next move is to go ahead and reduce the fraction on the left, just like we did the way I did it. So 3 zeros cancel out, and I get 9 over 14 equals x over 100. Remember, you're solving for x. So I need to get rid of the division by 100. You get rid of division using multiplication, so we multiply both sides by 100. And you get x equals, okay, let's see, what is 100 times 9 over 14? You could reduce with the 100 and the 14, or you could multiply first. 100 to 100 over 1, so that would be 900 over 14. I'm going to use a calculator to finish this out, since the numbers are a little bit big and the video is already getting long. And I get, what did it say? Well, it's the same answer we got before, 64.285 and so on. Blah, blah, blah. Remember the second way, it already has it in the percent form. So this is the percentage already. You don't have to convert. And remember, round to the nearest 10. So either way you write out the steps, you get the same answer.